Well, let's thank those guys that cooked and prepared and made all that stuff. Thank you so much. All you that served tonight, really thankful for each of you that worked hard. Very, very, very good. Thank you so much. Well, tonight you are in for a treat. Usually they let me teach this thing, but we'll get back to that next month. But when I heard that Avi was going to be in town, we wanted to make sure you got a chance to hear from him. I met Avi on our last Israel missions trip, and we usually end up taking 2 buses over there to Israel, 100 people, and it's always the guides have so much to do with it. Guides can, this, Avi. Guides can ruin your trip if they're bad, and if they don't know what they're talking about, they got some issues. And we are so blessed in Israel. And one of the reasons we're so blessed, obviously, you get to see the Holy Land, you get to see these places you've been reading about for all your life. But we're blessed with 2 of the best guides that I've ever worked with over there in Israel. And we've got one of them here tonight. And so, boy, when I didn't see you early on, I thought, uh-oh, this is going to be bad. I can teach the Bible, but I've never lived in Israel, and I've never served in the military. So these guys are going to be upset that I don't have any of these stories for them. But good news, Avi is here. And so would you welcome with me, Avi? Give him a great garden welcome. And we're glad to have him here and share with us tonight.
Was uh, I'm living on Saturday, and October 10 is the Pastor Appreciation Day. So I want me to be sure that you're taking care of this dear gentleman over there, Pastor Duff. Thank you for inviting me here. Okay, slides, please. We'll start. What I would like to do is give you a little bit of different angles about what's going on in the Middle East, what it's all about, and can we get the slides? Thank you. So, in a nutshell, this is it. When we speak about the factors of instability in the Middle East, the Iranians are Shiites, which are in a bloodshed conflict with the Sunnis, which I need another 45 days to explain the difference. And they try to deploy their interest all over, mainly in those places that have a weak central regime. And you see they are having a long arms. Lebanon, you probably heard about the Hezbollah, one of the terror organization which is the long arm from the Iranians. Syria had Iranian militias coming from Pakistan and Afghanistan and Iraq. Iraq, they have their Iranian militia over there. These are the ones that are responsible on the attack of the American embassy about a year ago, which was the death sentence of Soleimani. We're going to speak about this guy. Saudi Arabia, there's conflict over there, and you got rebels by the name of the Houthis. I don't expect you to remember the names, but they support by the Iranian too. And then you got to whatever you probably heard, Gaza Strip, and over there they got the Hamas. And again, all those organizations are supporting and financed by the Iranians. The New York Times, for example, slides please. The New York Times tell us that there's about 20,000 people in Syria. This is our friend Khatami, and now they have a new president, Raisi. And there's 20,000 people who finance in any given moment in Syria. Slides, please. This is, I would say, the head of the snake. You're familiar with this guy? I don't even name his gentleman, Mr. Qasem Soleimani. And he is the main plan behind the Iranian plan, big plan. And he actually planned to place some intelligence and logistic bases in Syria and in Lebanon, and by that way have some kind of pincer movement and circle Israel with Iranian elements in Syria, Lebanon, and on the border, the southern border in Egypt, in Gaza Strip. And the idea was to enlarge those bases, bring them and place them in about a one-day walking, driving distance from Israeli borders, and one night you can just take these troops ahead and penetrate to Israeli settlements, and this was the main goal of Soleimani. And they invest a lot of money either in the northern border of Israel, Lebanon, and in the southern border with building tunnels, assault tunnels, attack tunnels, and this was a strategic, goal for the Hezbollah and the Hamas. The Iranian tried to do it step by step in Syria to actually verify that their client, Bashar Assad, slide please. This is the guy. We named him the doctor because he was studied for 3 or 4 years to become an eye doctor in London. And when he took over his very cruel father, some people thought that there's a new era in Syria. Nothing changed. And they want to reassure the Iranians that Assad, after this very bloodshed civil war he had for 10 years in Syria, I don't know if you follow this one, but the last 10 years there was a revolt in Syria. There's a civil war over there. More than 500,000 Syrians were killed. By the UN data, more than 12 million Syrians became refugees, either in Syria or in Europe, Germany, and other places, some of the Arab countries, Lebanon, Jordan, etc., etc. So Syria is in a chaos, and the one that helped him a lot were the Iranians and the Russians. And the Iranians with the Hezbollah and the some militias and what left from the Assad military, they actually the one that support and give the Russian the boots on ground. The Russians have their interest, and they enter into Syria about 7 years ago. And as I told you, Soleimani grand plan was to get Iran involved in all those areas, and by that way turn Iran to some strategic element that needed to be taken in the Middle East. The idea was to add some ground corridor between Iran, slides please, between Iran, Iraq, Syria, and get the missiles and everything to Lebanon, and by that way frighten Israel. Yeah, I don't need to add anything. Unless you want to deal with this administrations, but this is the idea. This corridor actually works, but have some bottlenecks. Some of these bottlenecks are actually because of this very small amount of American troops, only around 2,000 special troops that deployed in the area of Deir Azur in the east of Syria, between Syria and Iraq, and they are the one that actually prevent a little bit from this corridor to be operate fluently, and the IDF, which attacked again and again at the last 2.5 years, Iranian bases that they try to deploy in the Middle East, and especially in the Golan Heights. There are some kind of, I would say, economic finance interests too, and we're going to deal with them after that. Among them, the big money that either the Russians and the Syrians supposed to get when they rehabilitate Syria after this bloodshed war that they have there. The American sanctions that actually operate in 2018 were very, very efficient in my humble point of view. And you have to understand that the Iranian rial dropped to 77,000 rial per dollar. And the situation over there is very difficult. The slides, please. So this is Soleimani, which tend to be a target by the media. I can say that the Americans have a very good cooperation with Israeli intelligence, target him in the airport. And slides, please. And some kind of a poetic justice. This is Soleimani funeral. And he brought to his death with a beautiful, beautiful American Chevrolet. Pay attention, guys. You see? So the situation is very bad over there. The Iranian administration try to calm down things mainly. Thank you. Thank you for all our Israeli friends here. Usually it's the Israelis that with the phone. And it's mainly the young people, the students that going to demonstrate again and again. And you have to understand that from 80 million Iranians, about 2/3. About 2/3 of them are young people under the age of 30. And they want their freedom, they want their education, they want their rights, and things going on there all the time underground. We don't hear all the time what's going on there. They depressed them very, very cruel by the Basij, the militia that responsible on that. And some kind of a paradox process is that, slides please, is that the one that have the most benefits from the sanction, the West sanction, is the regime, because the Iranian have, they create some kind of economic companies. For example, the SPA, which is a company that dealing with oil and commercial, and they are the one that running all the money over there. So they really have some benefits from there. And you see the student demonstrations. They demonstrate for lack of food, lack of water, supply, fuel, which was very, very strange in Iran, because these people used to almost pay nothing for their fuel. And now they're in a big trouble. And the administration is invest in those kind of deploy terror all over, and not the country, not the people. And I hope those elements will, at the end of the day, will succeed to change something. Slides, please. Look at the demonstrations, guys. We don't hear about this. This is a huge crowd over there. Another one, please. Yeah. This was taken from some apartment. Look at the Israeli flag over there. You see, on the ground? And they're supposed to walk down and walk on the flag. See what's happened there. Most of the people avoid. This was placed by the regime. So this is a very, very interesting declaration. Slides, please. And that's describe what I'm talking about. And yeah. And the former administration by Mr. Pompeo, and even this administration, declared that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. you have to understand that Iran is in a distance of between 2 months to 1 year to become a nuclear. And it's not any technical decision or ability, it's just a political decision. If they want to, they can do that. And I hope, and this is not the Israeli-Iran issues anymore. This is Iran vis-a-vis the free world. And we're going to see what's happened with they're trying to renew the talks now, and you have to understand that the Iranians are the champions of negotiation. They are the one that invent the chess mat. And I hope that the administration will know how to deal with them. You know, the future will say what's going on. And Israel follow very closely. Another slide, please. See this? Can you read what's going on there, guys? Yeah, that's the S-300 air defense missile over there in the box. So you know how to assemble these things? Yes, very, very quickly. And the Israeli Air Force plane is over there. And that's referred to the continue of those attacks that we try to prevent them to support the Hamas and the Hezbollah with very, very accurate missiles. And you have to understand when I said missiles, I mean thousands of them. So Israel is in any given moment under a threat of 1,000 missiles. And you see it just last May when this crazy guy decided to launch rockets. And there's a difference between stupid rockets, which can hit a house or a kindergarten or a school and kill people, to a very accurate one. And this is what we try to prevent with all those attacks again and again in the Golan Heights. Okay, so this is the Iranians, and they are one of the major factors of the instabilities of the Middle East. Over here, I want you to understand a little bit about what's going on here. This is Syria. You can see Syria, and you can see the yellow area. This is all belong to the Kurds. The Kurds have some kind of autonomy in the north of Iraq, and they are the Turks are very afraid of the Kurds, and they don't want them to have any independence, autonomy state, because there's some kind of minority, which they are about 20% of the Turkish population. And if these guys want to have a Kurds independent country, probably the Turks will be under trouble from their Turks. Look at Idlib, which mark on the left side with red. This is the pocket that left from all these rebels that were against Assad. At the end of the day, Assad took over about 80% of the country again, with the support of the Russians and the Iranians. And the Russians actually destroyed the country, guys. They brought Air Force, and they and you know, when you're fighting guerrilla, the most important thing is the support of the population. So they start with, I think, the largest ethnic cleansing from World War II. They just target the rebels, and after that they target the civilians and kick them up and up to the north. About 3 million of them went to Turkey, and it's really a tragedy. So Idlib is a pocket that those rebels are still there, just at the border between Syria and Turkey. And if you look on the left side and you see on the border between the pink area and the yellow area, a place named Deir Azur. Everybody see it? So this is where the American troops are. And this is the area when they actually sabotage the Iranian program a little bit. And this is an area that from time to time you hear some mysterious drones attacks that nobody knows where they come from. I think everybody knows. Slides, please. So you see, over here you see President Bashar Assad in one of the Russian planes. And the Russians get actually 3 main bases. 2 naval bases along the Mediterranean, which is Latakia and Tartus, which promised to the Russian 4 guys 49 years, and 1 air base in Hamamim, this is the picture, which give them the opportunity to deploy their navy in the Middle East. And these are actually the Russian interest in Syria. This is the reason why they step inside, getting those 2 bases. And slides, please. And you can see the Russian air carrier. And this is a major change in the Middle East because they weren't here until 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Now they have 2 major naval bases in Syria, which is another story. And not only that, slide please. You see those 2 guys. Putin arrived here. He's meeting Assad. Slides please. And you see the flag over there, guys? Yeah. That's a Russian flag. So there's boots on ground over there. There's Russian troops over there, and they actually keep the order in Syria. And slides, please. Look at that. And another one. And this is the results. This is how most of the cities in Syria looks like. Slides, please. You can see here the Iskander vehicle. This is a photos takes from a satellite, and this is the aerial base of Hamamim in Syria, and these are special missiles that they use against the civil population. Slides, please. Just get the idea of the involvement of the Syrian over here. This is Putin over there, and he come and he invites President Bashar Assad, the Syrian president, to the main operation room of the Russian troops in Syria, which actually find I'm the boss in Syria. Slides, please. Over here, we deal with, as I told you, the last 10 years, something like 12 million refugees, Syrian refugees, that spread all over. About 1.5 million of them arrived to Germany, and we had a government decision of not getting any refugees because of the very delicate balance between Jewish population and Muslim Arab population, Israeli population in Israel anyway. And the other thing, Syria is an enemy country. But what we did, we deploy a field hospital just in the border between Israel and Syria. And what you see here is actually Israeli soldiers, IDF soldiers, treat Syrian civilians and others. And this field hospital I think there's a lot of third world countries that will love to have this facility as the national hospital, and deal with more than, during the war in Syria, deal with more than 4,000 people that wounded and treated. If they have the ability to treat them there and send them back, that's fine. If not, they send them to back to Israel to treat them, and after that, release them back home. Because we believe that at the end of the day, hopefully, there'll be a peace, and these people will be our neighbors, and this is what we try to do. The Iranian like to have a part, a share in the tattoo sport too, to implement their interests too, to get some Iranian present in the Middle East. But at the moment, the Russians prevent them to do so, and they are much more strong and have the say over there. Assad playing some kind of a game because from one hand you have an empty treasure, no any money. From the other hand you have a family and a minority that used to a very good life. You have to understand that Assad came from a minority by the name of the Alawite. The Alawite are only 12% of the Syrian population, which means 12% actually control 88 other percent. So you get the idea. And he's not giving the Iranian what they want regarding deploy their troops and money, and the Russians want their share too. And he know that with the Iranian he can argue, with Putin he cannot. And the Kremlin from the other side, slide please, another one. You see the children and you see the girls, the soldiers, and this is really the basic of the idea was that really we look at the civil population at the other side of the border as neighbors. Slides, please. That's some of the supply that we supply to the population. All this happens along the time that on the Israeli-Syrian border the rebels was controlled. That's until about 2 years ago. Okay? When Assad troops with the Russian support took over again, we stopped the support because there's Syrian troops over there. Slides, please. You see some of the equipment that we supply to the civilians, among them generators, baby powder, sugar, flour, baby pampers, you name it. Mainly civil support. And I'm not familiar with a lot of armies, militaries that behave like this. Okay, let's continue with the other slide. Okay, so we see here the triumvirate. It's on the left side is Erdogan. You're probably familiar with him. This is the Turkish president. Putin and the Iranians. All those guys have their interests, as I told you, in Syria, and this is why they met. And slides, please. See, everybody wants his cut. The Russian, the Turks, and the Iranian with the bloodshed Syria. The key for actually the rehabilitation of Syria is not at the hands either of the Iranian, which have problems, or the Russian, which have an empty treasure too. It's in the Sunnis, rich countries like Saudi Arabia, like Qatar, like the Emirates, like the United States and Europe. And this gives us the hope that in a certain point they might have some political agreement that take out Assad from his position and bring Syria to some kind of stability. How many of you have visited the Golan Heights when you were in Israel? Now, you have to understand that the Golan Heights, we took the Golan Heights from the Syrian in 1967, Six-Day War, and they are just on the ridge of the mountain, just looking down there, and the Israeli troops, the Israeli settlements over there are, literally speaking, sitting ducks, guys. You can just roll the stones. And in a certain point, ISIS reached about 80 miles from the Israeli-Syrian border, the new one, new from 67 and up. I don't want to sing if we want what's happened if we won't have the Golan Heights with this kind of 16, 20 miles barrier that we can look over and see what's going on in Syria. Slides, please. The Turks, another factor, and as I told you, their most nightmare is that there'll be independence Kurdish state in their southern border, and they have their interest over there. And slides, please. And these are one of the bravest ladies I'm familiar with. These are Kurds, ladies fighters. And you have to understand that these are the ladies that at the end of the day kicked ISIS from his positions, because by the, you know that the Muslim believe that if you fight at the jihad, which is the holy war, and you'll die there, you rise up and you're going to meet in heaven with 70 virgin, no more than no less. I think Pastor Duff spoke about King Solomon yesterday. But the belief is that if you're killed by a lady, you won't get there. So these ladies was trained, brave ladies. They go there and they fight ISIS, and the funny stories are that they just shout, and when they heard that they're coming, they left. They used to run out. Who doesn't want to have a 70 virgin? Slides, please. The Kurds, by the way, have a very long-lasting informal relation with Israel. It goes back to the early 60s, 70s, and we support them all the time. It's quite a tragedy, the Kurds. American troop in the area of Deir Azur, and I hope they're going to stay there. We didn't speak about Afghanistan yet. And the Turks try to base themselves as some kind of geopolitical power over there. And not long ago, they even invade the northern border because they didn't want all the refugees and all the other Kurds come and have some unstable areas over there. Slides, please. Yeah, but the you see the Syrian-Turkey border, and you see the Erdogan over there. It's okay as long as they keep killing Kurds, and this is very, very sad, because you get the idea that you shouldn't wait or rely on the international community. Look what's happened in Syria. 500,000 people, civilians that killed, and everybody looked around and did nothing. And all this process was some kind of another bell ringing for Israel to understand again that we should count only on ourselves. And a very good allies like the Americans, but you can't rely on the international community to do something. We got the example of what used to be Yugoslavia, with Kosovo and others. You got this terrible 10 years war. Nothing. Slides, please. Back. Probably you're familiar with this picture? Yes. Yeah, that's unfortunately General Kenneth McKenzie, the last American soldiers on Afghanistan. Regarding what's happened, I would say that I think that President Trump reached to the right agreement when he decided to withdraw the American troops from there. But the way it's done, it's problematic all over the world because you see American and Western troops just running away. And this is not the way to do those kind of things. By the American interest, I think we really had enough of killing young American soldiers in Afghanistan. If the Afghanistan don't want to help themselves, there's a lot of money involved there. There's a lot of money that could come here to America to rebuild infrastructures and bridges and roads that you need, et cetera, et cetera. That's 21 years. So I think that the global decision to withdraw from there was the right decision. I think the way was, how it's done was very problematic. Yeah, yeah. Okay, slides please. So you can see the all the Afghanis civilians running away from there. Slides please. And the airport over there, and the last plane leaving Afghanistan. Slide please. Okay, so another element of unstabilized is the gas. Last couple of years, we revealed huge gas fields in the territorial water of Israel and in the Mediterranean. And this gentleman is General Haftar. I'm now taking you to Libya. And the Egyptian cooperate with this gentleman because they want their Libyan-Egyptian border be kept very, very quiet. Slides, please. And the idea of the Turks was to join the Libyans. So you have to imagine, I'll show you in a minute, Turkey is over here, Libya is over here, in between is the Middle East, and all the gas fields are in the middle, and they want to join together to stop other coalition that deal with this gas. But first come first, let's deal with the Saudians. This is a Sunni country, which is very, very wealthy, as you know. Some kind of stabilized balance factor against the Iranian spread all over. And they hate each other, guys. They really hate each other. About 6 years ago, slide please. About 6 years ago, some major event in the Saudi Arabia. The Crown Prince Ben Naif was kicked out, and the king nominated Mohammed bin Salman, which we named MBS. The deal that was probably done between the different branches of the family was that when MBS became a king, the crown prince won't be any of his sons, but will be probably from the other branch of Ben Naif. MBS is the one that actually, slides please. MBS is the one that we see MBS and President Trump. MBS was the one that have the unique program of Saudi 2030, which actually tried to bring Saudi to a new era that won't depend only on the oil. He was the Saudi ambassador to the United States. He was the Ministry of Defense, and doing that, he was fighting the rebels, Houthi rebels that financed and supported by the Iranians. So, and he got some problematic issue in his record. I don't know if you remember. Original Saudi press gentleman by the name of Khashoggi that was resist to the regime was invited to the Saudi embassy in Turkey and disappeared. So, yeah. But I want to quote MBS, and he said, Saudi Arabia as the main direction of prayer of the Muslims, which is Mecca, of course, is actually a main target to the Iranian regime. And he add and say, how you can reach to a agreement or understanding with a fundamental regime that his only faith based on fundamental ideology. So he don't fun with the Iranians so much. And I must tell you that at the last couple of years, we see some process in the Middle East, see some different allies, some mutual interests, for example, between Israel, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the Arab Emirates with the Abraham agreements. So all those elements against the fundamental Iranians, and this kind of process that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, nobody could dream on those. And the Abraham agreement is definitely one of the achievement of the Trump administration to break the equation that nothing can happen in the Middle East unless you solve the Palestinian problem. So he proved us that it can be done. And there's an active peace process and finance activity and commerce and trade and knowledge between the Emirate and Israel, which is a dream that 5-10 years ago nobody dreamed about. Slides, please. Okay, let's go back to the gas. This will give you some ideas about the gas field that found along the Israeli border, all those yellow stuff that you see. South then Cyprus, which is very important. You see in a minute why. And against the Lebanese coastline, which now have some discussion between Israel and Lebanon under American umbrella. And there's some kind of a coalition that create, which contain Israel, Cyprus, Greek, and Egypt from one hand. The other coalition that create was Turkey and Libya at the other side. And let's get another slide, please. The idea of the Israeli coalition, which is, as I mentioned, Israel, Egypt, Cyprus, and Greece, is to manufacture the gas and bring some underground pipeline that bring the gas through Cyprus, Greece, and to Europe. The Turks, of course, trying to prevent this one. Slides, please. And the Turks now, this is their proposal to share the gas, and they claim to some kind of a territorial water corridor between them and Libya. You see, and but that way cut the idea of bringing the gas to Europe, and at the same time they said that if the pipeline will go through Turkish soil and not Greek soil, well then they'll be ready to discuss. Slides, please. So this is the idea of the Libyan-Turkish relations suddenly. Slides, please. And over here, there's some kind of a provocation of the Turks that brought those ships to Cyprus and tried to intimidate the Greek government. Quite a tense relation between those two. Slides, please. Okay. How long I have? About 10 minutes? Yeah, okay. That's a challenge to explain the 10 minutes the Palestinians. You know the story. The story that we always tell is that there was a righteous man that one night the Lord appeared in his dream, and he told him, look, you're really a righteous man. You're almost 95. I want to fulfill one of your wishes. What do you like me to do for you? So this old righteous man sing for a minute, and then he said, look, I have a grandkid in the state, and my wife, she's afraid to fly. So can you build me a bridge from here, from Israel to the state? I can drive my car and get there? Lord looked at him and said, look, even for me as the Lord, it's a difficult project. You have to cross territorial water of many countries. You have to put the base on the deep of the sea. Sing about something else. I really want to fulfill your mission. So the old man sang for a minute, and then he said, Lord, I want to understand what's going on the mind of the Palestinians. So the Lord looked at him and said, how many lines you want the bridge? So Gaza Strip, guys. Gaza Strip, the Hamas, which is again the long arm of the Hezbollah, of the Iranian, financed by the Iranian. You have to understand that in 2019, the Hamas spent $260 million of building tunnels and buying rockets. Around $100 million reached from they get from the Iranian. And instead of invested in those refugees, we develop electricity and education and all those stuff. They do nothing. You're probably familiar with the organization by the name of UNRWA, the UN Refugees Agency. And guys, all over the world, when you define as a refugee, it goes for one generation. The idea is that after one generation, you'll do whatever you can to go out from this situation. You're going to send the next generation to be educated and find themselves. And the only place in the world that Gaza is Gaza, that you get your refugee certificate generation by generation by generation the last 75 years. And this is why we were so happy that when President Trump stopped the support of this kind of organization. Just let you know, guys, what do you think the Israeli state looks like in the early 50s? Thousands and thousands of Jews coming from all over after World War II. Tents and shacks. One big, excuse my French, hell of a refugee camp. This was the state of Israel that time in those years. But look at it now. So that's probably the difference. Slides, please. Just give you the idea about this. You see the green line? This is the border between Gaza on top of the slides and Israel. And you see some of the kibbutzim over there. And all those are a salt tunnel that digged by the Hamas. Now, guys, this is not a ditch on the beach. This is a very nice, slides please, a very nice tunnels and a lot of concrete over there. And this is how we deal with those. We got sensors over there, and when we reveal those tunnels, we send some unmanned vehicle to see what's going on there. They don't have any booby traps and stuff like this. And then we either blow it up or seal it with cement or something like that. And the reason why the Hamas now is mainly dealing with rockets is because we blocked this plan of using those tunnels. Slides, please. This is how it looks like, you see? You have communication, you have electricity, you get everything. Slides, please. So this is not just a tunnel. So trying to explain what's going on in the Middle East, you see everybody fights with everyone. The Iranian, the Saudi Arabia, the Yemens, and the ISIS, and all over. One more slide, please. And if you ask, what's about the peace in the Middle East? So this is how it looks like. Thank you, gentlemen. Questions, please.
Awesome.
I'm on time. So if you have any questions, please, and if not.
because we've gone a little, not you didn't go long, we just gone long, we normally do on Steak and Study. Avi will hang out for a little while. If you want to ask him a question, he would love to answer your questions. And I just want us to thank him one more time for being here and being a part with us. And Sharon, we just love you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
So thankful for you. So before we go our way tonight, I just want to, you've just heard, and some of you, some of this is golden for you. You loved every minute of it. Some of you are like, I don't understand geopolitical stuff and what's going on in my life right now. And I thought, I'm glad there was steak, but here's what you need to remember. In January, when we're in our new building, right after we do our dedication service, we're going to do about 4 Sunday mornings dealing with prophecies coming from the Jewish scriptures. And one of them that we'll look at is Ezekiel 38 and 39. Now, Avi, the other night when he was here on Wednesday, he talked about Ezekiel 37. And Ezekiel 37 is this prophecy about how Israel would be basically dead. It would be a pile of dry bones. And then God would bring those dry bones back together. And Ezekiel 37 has been fulfilled totally, because Israel, there were more Jews living in New York City in 1900 than there were anywhere in the Middle East. And yet, like he said, you can go there. And by the way, you need to plan on going with us in October of 2022. A year from now, you will have such a time seeing Bible stories, being there, watching what God has done. We will stand just a few yards away from the Syrian border and have Avi, tell military stories on the top of Mount Bental there. It's an amazing thing to get to see the places you've learned about in the Word of God for all the time. You gotta think about, pray about coming with us when we go in October. But Israel is this country that has come back to life. One of the major exporters of fruit in all of the world. A people and an economy and a military that is thriving in a region of the world that is just in chaos over there. God has been faithful to do exactly what His Word said He was going to do.
Amen.
Well, you turn the page and you get to Ezekiel 38. And Ezekiel 38 tells about a time still future from right now, when a certain group of nations will come together and stand against the nation of Israel. And we don't have time. I'm not going to go through evidence. We'll do this in January. But that list of nations is Russia, Iran, Turkey, Libya, and a few other players over there in the Middle East. Now, I want you to think about what you just heard from Avi about what's going on. The fact that they found, gas, natural gas, right off their coast. And the countries that don't want that, the number one supplier of gas in the world right now is Russia. And Turkey and Libya want their piece of that. And so now they're going to cut off the Mediterranean Sea. You guys can't cross the Mediterranean. It's crazy how God's word is starting to come to pass for what's still future to you and me. And so this is why we get around and we study this book and we say, God, what do you want to say to me? Because this isn't a book of man's fairy tales. This is God's word to you and me. And so a lot of what Avi just shared with us tonight is a fulfillment and a coming together of what will be the fulfillment of the next chapter of Ezekiel to happen there. Ezekiel 36, 37, done, fulfilled completely. 38, 39, right around the corner. And so we'll talk about that in a few months. But again, just thank you, Avi, for being here tonight. Absolutely. We love you. We're so glad you're here. And again, it didn't cost you $4,000 to go hang out with Avi. He's here tonight. So next time it will, because we're going to go there. But thank you again, Avi. And if you need to talk to Avi, he'll be here. Hang out for a little while. We don't want him to stay too late. But God bless you guys. Thanks for being here at Steak and Study. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. God bless you guys.